right. Hello, everyone. I'm as always excited to be here at episode 11. I'm going to speak from my heart today. I think I've been feeling the weight of this last 3 years. Of course, we all have. And I don't need to tell you that the education sector, that our field was hit really hard. And, the kids are hurting. The adults are hurting, the parents, the teachers, staff, everyone who works in schools. And what I'm concerned about is that we're not talking about it enough. We're not actually creating the solutions that need to help us heal. The paradigm is broken. We're not going to intellectualize our way through this. I was just meeting with a client and I was sharing with him that we got to get out of our heads about certain things. We got to use our minds and our left brain for the powerful tools that they are, which is to come up with these amazing solutions, right? And to be able to analyze and assess and organize and categorize and think critically. All that is amazing. And we have been completely conditioned and taught that we're not actually leading from our heart, that we're not supposed to lead from our heart. And I know it's getting better. Brene Brown is a household name now. But let's just for a moment, let's talk about the state of our field. Just for a moment, let's just take a breath and stop running around. I know it's the end of the school year. And so my hope with this episode is that it will be releasing right around the time that, like late May, when we're all running around like chickens with our heads cut off, because it's the end of the school year, right? And there's exciting things like graduations and ceremonies and end of year parties and field trips and all these really fun things. And then we're also just running totally on empty and burning the candle at both ends. And my hope with this episode is that I can give you, just for one moment as you're going through the crazy, that you'll take a moment and you'll just breathe and you'll pause and you'll acknowledge that it has been absolute insanity for 3 years. And that if I can plant the seed now, that as we go through the summer, which is more reflective and slower pace, whether you're in an administrative role or working at a foundation where you still work 12 months, things slow down. Or whether you're a consultant like I am, and a coach, things slow down. And if you're a teacher, then you might be traveling or doing other reflective, soul-filling type activities. So my hope is to really help you begin to plant that seed so that as you go through the summer, you understand that we can't continue like this anymore. And you feel empowered. Do you know how incredibly powerful you are? Incredibly powerful. You've chosen a profession that gets to help and serve the next generation. There's honestly nothing better in my mind. And yet, who's taking care of you? Who's having conversations about your mental health, about your wellness, your well-being? And hopefully you have somebody in your corner that's doing that for you. I met with a wonderful guest yesterday that I'm going to be releasing the episode in a little while. And she spoke about how her school has a wellness program for adults. We have to normalize that. We have to normalize programs for adults that help us heal, that help us actually get to the root of our issues, because we can't show up as our whole selves and as our most amazing selves without doing the work, the inner work. And so this podcast is about being a mindful education warrior, which means you're doing work within your heart, the mindfulness piece. So you'll start to hear the same things with my guests. I'm starting to hear the same trends over and over, which is they have a committed practice to slowing down, taking a deep breath, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours or whatever their life affords, they have a practice and they're disciplined and they go into their heart. And then they take that and they incorporate that into their daily lives. And so this podcast was launched because we're hurting. We're not doing well. And I'm here to say it out loud. We run away from our pain. We run away from our pain because it hurts too much. We're scared to death of facing pain or even just simply facing or feeling our feelings. And we work with children. They're the greatest model ever. They show us exactly how to feel, work with your feelings, be in the moment, and find flow. And what I fundamentally believe is if we start to do the healing on ourselves and we start to figure out what the blocks are and where we need the universe and the light and the source just to flow through us, once we start to clear those blocks, then your life can be about flow and freedom and having lasting impact, which is my tagline. Lead with love, live in flow, and create lasting impact. But it starts with acknowledging that you're in pain, acknowledging that you're hurting, acknowledging that this has been a terrible 3 years. I'm not saying venting, complaining, creating negative energy around it. That's not going to help at all. That's just going to keep feeding, as Eckhart Tolle says, feeding the pain body. You're going to feed the pain body of pain and hurt with more pain and hurt. And you're going to be in this exact same place 3 years from now. This was a massive wake-up call for us to see that we can't continue with the status quo. You're a paradigm shifter. You're an education change maker. What's in your heart that you see as a great change needed in our education space? Could be so simple. It could be like, I'm going to approach my principal and say that every meeting we should have 5 minutes of meditation, or once a month we should have a wellness Wednesday instead of a staff meeting. Or I'm going to ask that somebody like David comes into our school and teaches us about how to heal and work with our own inner light and our heart to be more free and open for these beautiful children we work with every day. Could be something massive like, I want to create my own school. I'm working with folks now that are creating these amazing schools that are not anything like the traditional schools or even the charter schools that I worked in. So what is within you that you want to make a reality? What is it? What's the change you want to make in your classroom? What's the change you want to make in your community? Because that change is waiting to come through you, but you're blocked. And your block is related to some part of your childhood, your past, that is scared to death to move forward. And it's not going to be cleared by thinking about it or creating a formula or a structure. It's going to be healed and cleared by going into your heart and taking care of yourself. So every single one of my guests has been talking about how they have some sort of self-care routine. And every single one of them has said that in our space, we have a martyr mentality that we don't take care of ourselves. And I understand 100%, I get it. And there's no judgment because I am one, I am you. It's taken me a long time to actually value myself and say, hey, I'm worthy and I matter. And so I'm going to take 15 minutes for myself. Listen how crazy that sounds out loud. That I'm worthy, I matter. So I will take 15 minutes for myself. We have to actually be tricked into taking time for ourselves. I've heard several of my guests say, I got to mindfulness through teaching it to my students or working in a school where they taught it to students. So imagine that for a second. It's like a math teacher saying, I learned math by teaching math to my students, right? So how do we start to really embrace how amazingly powerful we really are and begin to believe that this is our destiny to be in this education space, to create change, to create a better future, to create a better world. I know when you got into teaching, when you got into the education space, you didn't do it for the money. I'm going to die laughing. I know you did not do it for the money. I know you didn't do it for the prestige. I know you didn't do it for the status. Okay, this is what bonds us together. We literally did it for the love of something better and wanting to make a difference and being part of something that feels good. We get to help, we get to give, we get to take care of people, but we have an issue because we do it at the detriment of our own health and our own mental and emotional well-being. So please, 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 please find some small way to take care of yourself. Something. Do something for yourself. The moment you hang up this, it's not a phone. The moment you stop listening to this podcast, or right now, don't even wait till you stop listening. Right now, there's nothing else other than the now moment. Take a moment to have some ice cream, call your best friend, go on a little walk in the nature, play with your dog, pick up your kid from school after school today if they usually don't. Pick up your kid early. Do something that brings you joy. Something. You deserve it. It has been a hellacious 3 years. You deserve it, no matter where you are in the education space, whether you've been in the trenches every day or whether you're doing something that's supporting. You deserve it because it's been hard and because you deserve it. So find a way to give back to yourself. Trust yourself and lead from your heart. Ask your heart, what do I need today? Ask your heart. Okay. Close your eyes. If you're driving or, it's not safe, obviously don't do it. But do this later if you can't do it now. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale longer than the inhale. As you're doing your inhale and exhale, picture an elevator going down from your head to your heart. And you're letting go of that logical side of you just for a moment while you're breathing. And you're asking, what do I feel? What do I need? Do that several times throughout your day and it'll change your life. Follow your heart. Follow your soul. Your soul knows exactly what you need. You don't need to be running around like crazy and avoiding all the pain and avoiding the discomfort by doing more, by working more, by drinking more. Come back to why you got into education in the first place. Live in your why. Live in your why. Don't think about it once a year in a PD. Don't think about it when, the principal or the leader of your organization did a great talk about the vision and the purpose and why you guys are all there. Think about it every single day. Why did you choose this profession? Why do you teach? Why do you serve? Why? Just get really clear on that. And then what's really important to understand is that your why has always been there. My why has always been because I love teaching. There's much more to it, but just for keep it simple, I love teaching. So when I go through my life, and you can do this too, you can just reflect and assess where you've been. Go through your life, and I can see the through line of teaching. Even when I was a corporate banker, I would literally take people under my wing and teach them something. I'd always be training somebody on something. I was coaching basketball. I was teaching English to Ethiopian immigrants when I was a corporate banker. I was always teaching and serving. That is my purpose. That is my why. How can I love today? How can I serve today? How can I teach today? I ask myself that every single day in my meditation. I connect to that every single day because the thoughts in your head, we have something like 90,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are negative. The thoughts in your head will take you everywhere but to the why and to what you what really lights you up. So connect with that why for you. Is it because you love kids, or because you love your subject, or because you are tired of the inequities and you want to create a better educational system and you believe in social justice? Is it that your educational experience was so negative that you want to create a better one for other kids? Is that yours was so amazing that you want to do that for other kids? Is it, I could go on and on and on. What is your why? Live in your why. Create a routine where you look at it every single day. Post it on your dashboard, on your car, put it in your mirror at work, tattoo it on your wrist, on your inner arm. Okay? Live in your why. Live in your why. Because we didn't get into education for the money. We got into it for our why. We got into it for the love and the purpose of changing the world, of being an education change maker. You're not listening to this if you're somebody who's just going through the motions, right? Teaching, educating is not a robotic field, but it can become one. And you have all of the power. It's not something that someone else is going to give you a key. No one's going to unlock a key to your potential and your power and your greatness and living with purpose. No one. People are going to show you a mirror. I hope that I can show you a mirror that is right in front of you and that you have all the power, but no one is giving it to you. You have to do it yourself. Not all by yourself and in victim and pity party like I'm alone. No, no, no. But you can do it in community. But I'm saying at the end of the day, it's a conversation between you and you. You have the power to change whatever it is that you're dreaming about, but it starts within your own heart. Lead from your heart. Then once you're clear on your why and your change-making dream, then you start to run it through your intellectual mind. You start to ask, how can this come into the form? How can this formless energy within my heart become the form? And you dance with it and you play with it and you live in the moment and you don't try and plan and control everything. You trust your intuition and you go one moment at a time. That's how I've built every single thing I've ever built, from helping Summit Public Schools go from one school to a nationally ranked organization and opening several schools with them and becoming the chief of schools, and to opening my own school. Everything has started with a whisper in my heart. And then I've slowly but surely followed my intuition. Now, in the earlier days, a long time ago, I didn't know what I was doing. It was painful. I had to waste a lot of time trying to figure out what the heck I was doing. But now I'm fully aware of my process, which is I follow my heart. I discern the intuitive feelings daily, and I take inspired action. So I don't sit and think about it and wonder. I wait for the yes. I follow the instincts in my body and I go all in. That's how I started my school. That's how I launched this coaching business. That's how I launched this podcast, everything. But it starts with really getting clear with your why, knowing what's blocking you. Pain is the portal to growth. What is blocking you? Where's the pain that you're avoiding? Being clear on what your mind is telling you, what stories you're creating in your head that are not true, most likely, that are just part of the conditioned mind and the fear-based self. So please, as you're going through your last busy few weeks, it might be a week for some of you and a month for others, as you begin to go into the summer season, take a moment to reflect on your why, reflect on where you've been the last few years. Create time for yourself. Make yourself the star of the show. And if that's hard for you, reflect on that. Make yourself the star of the show and do it just in small steps. The smallest thing you can do. And do it in the summer a little bit more so that you build the muscle so that when the school year starts and things get crazy, you're already starting to build that habit and that muscle. You are incredibly powerful. You got to believe it and you got to start taking some action. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful day and thank you for listening.